like teachers, and because I respect teachers, we have a lot of we've had a lot of teachers on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
And I respect people that are in education, but I just hope that people know the origin of the education system in this country, because it really, it's not even an argument. If you look at the origin of education in America, it is obedience to the government and to create obedient workers who will listen and work an everyday job, 9 to 5. That's just the truth. And I don't know when or if or how it evolved to whatever it is nowadays. But back in 1900s, early 1900s, I think the first public education school, our system, was developed in Massachusetts way back in like 1850. And they had to have a grammar school in every town. And if you didn't go, the kids didn't go, the parents would get fined. And I understand that, because you have to have people that are articulate, and you have to have people that, are grammatically you have to have people that know how to talk and write and read. I understand that. But somewhere along the line, John D. Rockefeller comes along. And I've been talking to you about this before. John D. Rockefeller comes along, and Big Oil, for people that don't know, John D. Rockefeller was the first billionaire in the world. Standard Oil, John D. Rockefeller's dad, Devil Bill. So it sounds like a big conspiracy, but you can look all this up. And I watched a couple videos today, and I went back and forth from articles, and it all comes back together. It's all written down. John D. Rockefeller funded like the public education system for America. Like a lot of the same things that kids learn today are based off of John D. Rockefeller and a group of people developing an education system. John D. Rockefeller was quoted saying, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers." That's a quote from John D. Rockefeller. And now you could take that either way, that John D. Rockefeller wants America to be hardworking. They want people not just to be sitting around painting pictures and stuff, but they want people to be out doing things and developing. But when I read that quote, to me, it seems like a negative thing, that John D. Rockefeller doesn't want other people to come up and take over things that he doesn't want them to take over. Because in the end, John D. Rockefeller is dead now, but his family is still extremely wealthy. That wealth will never disappear. I mean, when you have $300 billion was John D. Rockefeller's peak wealth, that's not just going to disappear in a couple of years. You know what I mean? So the effects of John D. Rockefeller are still being seen today, and will be seen in our entire lifetime and probably our kids' lifetime, because the Rockefellers are still around. They have granddaughters and whatever. So like I was saying, the original origin of education in America was to create workers. And people are going to say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, what are we really learning in school? Are we learning like how to think? Or are we learning what to think? I think we're like especially when we were in school, I feel like we were being told things, and then at the end of the week we'd have a quiz. You'd take the quiz, or you take the test, you'd memorize that stuff, and then you'd move on to the next thing, and you'd probably forget what we learned. How much stuff do you remember that we like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like that topic, I think that's probably, like, personally, what I think is one of the biggest problems with the education system is that teachers are more inclined to, teach to the test as opposed to, like, teaching the material itself.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, schools, the additional, like, funding and stuff that they get is based on, standardized testing scores.
Yeah. Yep.
So like teachers, administrators, they're more, what I feel like is they're more concerned with getting a positive results on tests as they are, or they're more concerned about getting good results on tests than they are about the kids actually learning.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like usable skills. And I'm sure that there's things that teachers want to cover, but they're so pressured to make sure that the students know how to answer on these standardized tests, that they leave out things that could be a lot more crucial, a lot more helpful to them.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, their hands are tied in a lot of those scenarios.
100%, yeah. And I'm sure that they're being told that this is the goal we want to meet. How do you get to that goal? How do you get there? And they're thinking, my whole job depends on me making sure my students test as well as I can. And
that's another thing is that if all of your students come back, or if a lot of your test results comes back, and they're obviously not high scorers, that's going to directly reflect on the teacher.
Exactly.
So if the teacher was more so concerned about like teaching, or like actually making them understand the material as opposed to just remembering it, I think that they I just think that they're not like incentivized to teach them well. They're incentivized by, if your students do well on these tests, then you keep your job, you get tenured, and that's it. You know?
And I understand the basic premise of it. You know, we're trying to teach critical thinking. We're trying to teach a variety of different things because it's good to be well-versed in a wide variety of things. My problem is, why are we learning and memorizing the periodic table? I understand the idea behind learning like the different things. I don't understand memorizing in one, what thing category. I don't even remember. Periodic table. They're broken into different what is it like? Like you know what I'm talking about though. Like
this is kind of proving the point that we're making.
Exactly. We don't remember this stuff, but I remember specifically going home and memorizing the periodic table.
I remember having to remember the periodic table because if you were like the first one done and you got all of the elements correct, then you got like 100% on the next quiz or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And what is that benefiting to us? What are you really going to take home at the end of the day from that?
The only thing that I think is would be a logical answer to that would be that they teach us a wide variety of things, so that way kids that are in high school or growing up and they're figuring out what they want to do, they get a taste of a lot of different fields. So that way when they get past high school and they're going to college and stuff, then they'll have a little bit more of an idea.
I've got a green up against another. And then, I remember.
It's not even the shape.
Negative.
Mentally ill.
Did a special effects agency.